it won't be real healing until we do it as a collective.
Have a very distinct voice in your book. You write in both in Spanish and in English, which to me allows you to explore feelings and situations accurately. I understand it because I also speak a second language, and sometimes there are certain things that you cannot translate in English. How liberating was it is to be allowed to, express your writing in that form and that people respond positively towards it?
Yeah, it's been a journey as well, because even from my first book, I started using words in Spanish in my text, but that's not necessarily something that has been allowed to do to authors. Like, I'm standing on the shoulders of a lot of people before me who had already opened up that path for us, because for a long time it was thought that either books in Spanish won't sell, so if you put some words in Espanol, there are people who are not gonna wanna buy the book. But I did it from the very beginning, and because the response was great, then kind of like created this trust in this mixing of the language. Now, maybe it was something new for publishers, because this is something that is happening in schools constantly. If you go to the teachers and in the classroom and with educators, they are dealing and they are valuing like the knowledge of people who speaks other languages that are not English, second languages or third languages, and there are teachers who have been recognizing the wisdom and the strength that words in languages outside of the English language bring to the lives and the experiences of children. So right. Teachers already knew it, but maybe it wasn't necessarily known in the publishing industry. But it's been a journey, and things are changing nowadays. When I make my books, even my own editors are the ones who tell me, what these books are gonna be both, like we are gonna make editions both in English and in Spanish, and they are going to come out at the same time because people are asking for the books in Spanish. But also, one of the things that I like the most, besides having these books created in both languages, is to be able, in my books in English, already bring the Espanol and mingle together. Because to me, it makes it for real communication. When we are talking about picture books. Picture books are not only words in English. Right. Picture books are words, but there are shapes, there are colors, there are page turnings, there are spaces. And the languages in a picture book are infinite. We have many different ways of reading a picture book, and it has nothing to do just with whether it's in English or in Spanish, or if we use a word that is in another language. So why cannot the picture book be the best container for all those different ways of communicating, of making ourselves be understood? So for me, yes, the word is like is freedom, is liberated, is really being able to speak with your heart, with your brain, with your guts, with everything that you need to tell what you want to say. And it just makes me joyful, makes me happy. And like what I do is like with Bright Star, I want to even highlight the words in any language, both in English and Spanish, but I want to make them just beautiful singing, whether I embroider them or anything, I need to make them be this magical, this powerful way of communicating my story. And to me, being able to have the two languages that I know, and I wish I knew more in this case, I actually want to say the many languages that I know, because I know how to draw, I know how to do other things, have all of these languages together to just create an even more powerful narrative. That's real art, and that's real freedom.
Yes, Yuyi is changing the world.
One book at a time.
Yes. So, like you've mentioned earlier, your books were meant for children. To me, it's a form of resistance and a call for change. To me, it's your weapon in which you allow your art to speak for immigrants and the displaced. Is this your way not only to reach out to them, but also to allow themselves to heal while consuming your art by making them feel less alone and validating their existence?
Wow. Thank you. One of the things that when I was making Bright Star, one of the things that was pulling me was trying to understand how we heal things that feel very difficult to heal. And I set up to ask to everybody, like, there are things that were happening to children that were irreparable. Children at the border, children who were being separated from their families or put in cages, or even separated permanently from their families, where they will not be able to see them again. And for me, the big question was how, so I am someone who makes books for children. How can I continue making stories where I overlook what is happening to some of those children? And if I'm trying to tell a story with my books, how do you acknowledge that a lot of those children who are reading my stories are going through things that we adults will never even know what to do with them, And so for me, the question is, how do you heal something that feels irreparable? Was very, very important. And I continue asking that question. Part of answering it was making that book and trying to find answers to that question. Most recently, I've been learning about how if we want to heal, we might look for an individual healing, but that is not real healing. If we want true healing to happen, we are going to have to do it collectively. Because what we have to heal is not the thing that happened to me. It's the thing that is happening to all of us. And it's happening to all of us because we are all part of the system. We are all part of the experience. We are all actors and characters in this story that our planet and our world and life is going through at this moment. So if we want real healing, we are going to have to do it together. For me, making those books is kind of like a way of opening my arms. I'm hoping that we are going to do the healing together. It's not enough that I heal whatever feels like to me that I have to heal. It won't be real healing until we do it as a collective. And Bright Star or Dreamers or some of my other books is part of this invitation. It's part of like, here's a little blanket, that I extend so that we can kind of like cover ourselves with that blanket and being able to continue the journey through finding the healing that we really need.